Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Salam alaikum. So, I hope you can't hear my audio because I'm listening to music and I don't want to get the goddamn copyright strike. So, wow, we have a lot of things to discuss. Shall we get to it? Before we get into it, though, roll call. Wow, we got 336 people watching. Isn't that beautiful? Roll call, roll call. I want everybody to sound off in the comments. I want you to tell me that you're here, that you're present, even if you're watching on replay. That's absolutely fine. And make sure you hit the like button because we're constantly fighting the algorithm, right? So, just give me a second. Okay. So, first of all, I have some really exciting news. Okay, so buckle up for this one. So, I just got a job at MSNBC. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, what's wrong with you, Richard? Have you gone crazy? No, I've not. Actually, I've had an epiphany. And, I think I finally, I found, I see things differently now, right? So, I mean, if you look at things objectively, I think it's clear that, for all the things that we say about imperialism, at the end of the day, I mean, the United Kingdom, the United States, they're really a force for good. They're really a force for good in the world, It's like, it's the whole lesser of two evils thing. And, I mean, like, what are you going to come here and tell me? You want like Russia and China and Iran and Syria running the world and doing their thing, and we can't have that. And it's like, what about Israel? I mean, Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. I can't do this shit. April Fools, motherfuckers. All right, it's April Fools. Damn, I couldn't last like 30 seconds with that. I couldn't do that shit for 30 seconds. That's Israel's where I draw the line. No. April Fools. Don't worry, it's a false alarm. I posted some. I got you. I bet I got some of you motherfuckers, right? I got some of you motherfuckers. Hold on, I want to show you something that I posted on Twitter earlier. And it actually fooled a bunch of people, huh? Which is insulting. Like, how dare you be fooled by that? Like, is that what you think of me? Oh God, hold on. Let me pull this up, man. I'm loving the comments. I got you. Huh? I got you. All right, hold on. I'm pulling this up for you. This is what Could you imagine that shit? If I ever say that shit, it's a hostage situation. There's someone behind the camera with like a fucking an M4. It's game over. So let me just show you this, man. This is what I posted earlier on Twitter. With a shit-eating grin, I wrote that together, the UK and the US are the single most powerful force for good in the world today. But a bunch of people got fooled in the comments, huh? But yeah, I thought that the shit-eating grin would kind of, give it away. But yeah, we gotta have a little fun. What's horrifying is there are people who actually believe that shit. Like, I understand if you're a child and you've been kind of, you've been indoctrinated and brought up that way, but you can't seriously think that shit as an adult. Like that's just that's embarrassing. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it, because it's not your fault that you've been indoctrinated, but there comes a point where you have to deprogram. Otherwise, Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. MSNBC. God, no. If that ever happens, just call in the drone strike yourself. Don't wait for them to do it. Just come and drone strike me yourself. Okay, put me out of my misery if I ever work for MSNBC. And man, they wish. I'm not kidding. They wish that I would do that shit. They wish, right? They ain't gonna silence me till I'm dead. The only way they're gonna silence me is if they kill me. That's the only way, man. Right? That's the only way. They're gonna have to kill my ass, right? I think one of you on Twitter, you said like we're something about like we're afraid you got sent to Guantanamo Bay and someone hijacked your account or something. Yeah, if I ever post that shit, like seriously, that's probably the case. All right, we're good. Let's get into the segments, man. We got a couple of things to cover. We got a lot of things to cover, man. Oof. By the way, before we start, I want to give a huge thank you. Okay, I want to give a huge thank you. I need to do this. A huge thank you to well, actually, hold on a second. Can you guys see? Let me remove my logo. Just 1 second. Give me a second, because you see my spinning cube in the corner over here. You see the spinning cube? That's covering something that I got as a gift. Okay, and I want you to see it. So I'm trying to figure out how to remove this. Give me 1 second. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Do you see that beautiful drawing up there? Okay, that's Tupac, right? He's wearing traditional African dress. I got this from Colin. And I got the t-shirt as well from Colin. Habibi, I can't tell you how happy I was when I opened the package. I mean, just come on, look at this, right? You guys know the Outcast artwork, right? Except that you got Malcolm X and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King instead. So, I mean, I love this t-shirt, first of all. And the Tupac artwork. So we got Tupac 2 times on the wall now. No, I'm going the wrong way. We got Tupac up here, and then the All Eyes on Me album cover over here. So I need to say thank you for that, because these are beautiful gifts. Thank you so much. Truly, I really appreciate that, Habibi. You're too kind. And I also got this lovely book. See what sent me here from James Baldwin. I don't know if you can see it in the light properly. There you go. The Fire Next Time. I mean. And look at the card, right? So this is a belated Christmas gift. Look at the card with the Palestinian flag on it. Habibi, I mean, like, you know, I'm humbled by this. I don't know what to say. I can only thank you endlessly. Thank you so much for this. And by the way, I also want to say I want to give a huge thank you also to Batul, because if you look under Tupac, right? I put up another. Give me a second. I'm trying to move this over here. So, yeah. So if you look under there, there's another drawing, but I don't think you can see it so because of the bokeh. It's kind of it's a bit blurred out, right? So she drew this, right? She drew this, the Palestinian resisting in the bottom, and I have another one, a close up of this, so you can see how great her work is. Batul Balut, and I'm gonna give you her Instagram, because you guys absolutely need to follow her. She does amazing work, and she actually sent me this for my birthday last year in August, right? So I finally found the occasion to put it up, and I mean, I'm in love with it. I really love it. I wish it were more visible, but regardless, I see it all the time. So there you go. And this is her Instagram, right? So okay, hold on. It's asking me to log in, but I'm just gonna give you the result on Google. So there you go. It's at, okay, 8ALLOUT. Go check out her artwork. I mean, she does great stuff. Seriously, beautiful. So, I mean, and look at the head. You know, you got both of the arms up there. I think that's really cool. Again, I wish it were more visible, but it's you know, it makes no difference to me. I love it. So I wanted to make sure you guys could see it and know what it is. And I'm just digging this so much. So thank you to both of you. Thank you to Colin. Thank you to Batul. I'm really so grateful for you. This is just awesome. It's really awesome. So all right, let's get into the politics, man. Let's get into the politics. Right. So I know you want me to start with AOC. I'm not going to start with AOC. You're gonna have to wait for that. I'm not starting with her. First of all, we're gonna ease into it. The first thing I want to start out with is Joe Biden. Okay. So Joe Biden, he's put forward this proposal for a massive investment in U.S. infrastructure. Okay, let me show you. So he calls this the American Jobs Plan. Okay, and there's also going to be an American Families Plan, which is coming soon. But this basically is going to be a $2 trillion investment into U.S. infrastructure. Okay. And there are some people who are saying that this was a reaction to the announcement from China and Iran, that they're having this 25-year strategic partnership now. I mean, because he does mention China like, I don't know, 5-6 times inside the announcement when he was talking about it, when Biden was talking about it. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I'm assuming they probably had this drawn up for a while, and I don't think it's a 100% just kind of reaction to that. I don't think you can compete. It's not realistic. Nonetheless, let's just get that out of the way. Let's look at the nitty and gritty. So, basically, they're saying that you're going to have, number one, this is from USA Today, right? Number one, you're going to have $621 billion going into transportation. Okay, so what they're going to do, they're going to spend 174 billion, and they're saying that this is going to be, they're going to include a network of 500,000 electric vehicle stations. They're going to put, replace a lot of buses in Europe are electric, for example, are running on green. So they're going to try and do that as well. And they want to replace the federal government's fleet of diesel transit vehicles with electric vehicles. And they want to offer tax incentives and rebates for electric cars. Now they're saying 115 billion, so that's that's most of that sum of the 174. It's a lot of it is going to fixing roads and bridges. And I just want to say something right off the bat. The first problem I have with this. Okay, and I'm not talking about Pete Buttigieg and his plan to tax you by the mile, which is great for, again, shirking responsibility for corporations and making the little guy pay for it. I'm not talking about that. But my first problem with this is that they're more focused on continuing this concept of, go out and buy a car. But this time, make sure it's an electric vehicle, which, okay, that sounds great on the surface because, it's clean energy compared to pumping fumes out, the entire time. Great. But it's more focused on consumption, right? On continuing this capitalist system and making sure that you're spending your money, with these big corporations that were, again, bailed out by Biden and Obama, if you recall, then actually, focusing on renewable energy, right? Because among many things that Biden lied about, one of them was fracking, right? He said, yeah, I'll ban fracking. Kamala Harris said the same thing. And then they both turned around and said, no, we're not banning fracking. And they got so pissed off, they were even like saying, how dare you accuse us of wanting to ban fracking? So don't think for one second that because they're going to invest in, a fleet of electric vehicles for the government, or that they're going to invest in a network that will support electric automobiles, that this is somehow some kind of shift to renewable energy. It's not. This is like, it's a drop in the ocean. So I just want to get that out of the way. All right. And the second thing that they're talking about here is also quality of life at home. So this is number 2, right? And they're saying that they want to put 213 billion into affordable homes. Okay, more than 2 million affordable homes. Now, this is basically shocking to me that you still have lead pipes in the U.S. I mean, I can't understand this. I read that and I was like, what? You still have lead pipes? What about Flint? Like, what? The lawsuit in Flint is coming to a conclusion now, like in the sense that they're saying you got a few more days left for people to apply to get a bit of that 600 million or whatever it is. It's like $500 million in damages. I love that you have to go claim it as well. Yes, I know that's how it usually works, but still, I think it's insulting. It doesn't, no one is actually going to serve any real time for it, right? But nonetheless, what about Flint? Are they going to make Flint wait before they replace the lead pipes there? Like, are they going to say like, oh, well, wait till we get our American our American jobs program passed first, and then we can do this for you? What about that? Like, how is that still a thing? How is that still a thing? And I don't understand this. I mean, this is an abomination, honestly. You hear stuff like this, and then you struggle to understand what the meaning of first world country means. And again, I don't like those terms. This is. Again, I don't want to go off on a tangent now, although I always do. But let's say developed country, right? They like to pit undeveloped and developed countries, or developing countries against developed countries. You call this developed? I mean, this is embarrassing. And I mean, it's good. Like, you know, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's, but my problem is like, about fucking time. Don't worry. I haven't finished. So, you know, and they've got, of course, more things that, you know, about broadband. This is another issue where I also think that, you know, it's embarrassing because if you look at countries in Eastern Europe, for example, that were considered not as developed as Western Europe, they even have better broadband networks. They even have better infrastructure because, you know, the United States was one of the first countries to have internet, right? And they laid down all this infrastructure 20 years ago, and they haven't touched it since. And so these countries that you know, got a broadband or fiberglass network later on, I mean, they immediately had the best thing, right? But again, where's the money going, right? Like, it's not an excuse that you were the first to have it, so you should just leave it. I mean, look at lead pipes. That literally kills people, right? And gives them horrible diseases and birth defects. So that's not an excuse, right? The money is there. They just don't want to do anything about it. It really is an embarrassment. So great, but where was this before is what I'd like to know. And, you know, they also talk about the VA, the Veterans Affairs, and again, you know, I was laughing about this expression over here, to plug oil and gas wells and reclaim abandoned mines. So you know, what does that mean in the context of Joe Biden, who, you know, is a friend of the fossil fuel industry? What does that mean? Is that another lie? Because he just says things that are not true. So, you know, I mean, you might as well just print this out and wipe your ass with it, right? Because it looks good. It looks great. It just like the $15 minimum wage looked great. Well, not really, because it should be 22 at least. But, you know, it's like the $2,000 check. He just says shit and then just does the complete opposite. So, yeah. And then here we have, this is another pillar of the plan, number 3. This is caregivers for elderly and people with disabilities. So he wants to put $400 billion into that. Okay. Well, that's great. But, you know, I just want to raise a point here. You don't have to be an elderly person to, you know, be suffering from, you know, any sort of health condition. Because, okay, of course, you know, the elderly, just as the young, just as the disabled, you know, they have even more needs. They're more at risk. But again, it's this idea that, you know, everyone else, go and screw yourself, go and fend for yourself. Because my point is, there's nothing being done about Medicare for all, right? Of course not. He said he'd veto it. But again, it's this idea that, you know, look, we're so benevolent. We're gonna take care of our needy. We're gonna take care of our desperate. No, are you really? You got tens of millions of people who don't have healthcare. I'm pretty sure they're just as desperate. So, I mean, you know, it's not even a half-assed measure. It's like I struggle to understand what this is doing, really. And then here they talk about research, development, and manufacturing, and they want to put this into, you know, clean energy, fewer emissions, climate change research. Great, wonderful. But, you know, which I want to understand if this is really going to happen, because when someone comes out and makes a point, you know, that they're insulted by Donald Trump, that he's claiming that he's going to ban fracking, and he spent his whole life serving the fossil fuel industry and bailed out the automobile industry, and he steals oil from other countries, from Venezuela, from Iran, from Syria. You know, I struggle to believe that any of this is real. I really do, because you know, someone like that strikes me as perhaps the last person on earth who would be interested in renewables. I'd love to be proven wrong. I really would. I'd love to be proven wrong. I mean, Christ Almighty. Hold on, I just want to pull something else up for you. That is going to be good. Give me a second. So this from Star Tribune, I believe. There we go. And right. So look at this with me. Okay. So down here, they talk about how he's going to pay for this, right? Because you might be wondering, well, how is he going to pay for this? It's $2 trillion and then some, because if you count the American Families Plan, it's a bit more. And you already know what's coming, right? Oh, the Republicans are going to say it's too much, and then the Democrats will say, oh no, you're being mean, and then nothing will happen, even though, you know, they could kind of make it happen. It's just like they're just playing catch and letting the American public just run in between, never able to. It's horrible. So basically, you remember Donald Trump in 2017, he passed his these tax cuts, right? The corporate tax rate, he lowered it from, 35% to 21%. And Joe Biden is saying now that he's going to raise it to 28%. So that's not even pre-Trump level. Okay? Think about that. That's not even what it was before Trump. So, and what he's saying here, okay, this is a very interesting line. Look at this. So they're saying over here that funding Biden's initiative with tax hikes has been controversial. Ooh. I love how that's a thing. Like, building shit for the public. Oh, that's controversial. So raising the corporate tax rate to 28% from 21% would generate some $700 billion over 10 years. One of the people said. One of the people meaning that they're talking about someone inside of the Biden administration, right? So just think about that for a second. $700 billion over 10 years. That's their selling point. Do you know what the U.S. military budget is for this fiscal year? It's $740 billion. So if the United States cut its military budget in half tomorrow morning, which is never going to happen, but if they did, they would still be spending more than any other country, and they could pay for, well, they would raise $700 billion at the very least, right? Not the $2 trillion, but they could pay for this $700 billion that would take 10 years in 2 years. But they're not going to do that, of course, because this is the result when your priority is bombing other countries and occupying them instead of taking care of your own people, right? So what I would like to transmit to you, what I would like to convey to you is that I think this entire plan is a bunch of malarkey because, you know, if they're claiming that they couldn't even pass the $15 minimum wage because of a Senate parliamentarian, which they could have overruled, and because of one lone senator from West Virginia, and they were claiming that, you know, they couldn't, well, they didn't claim, they just lied about the $2,000 check, right? So they're claiming they can't get things done. And the $15 minimum wage, they could have easily done. I mean, they could have done that and they flat out refused, right? You didn't need bipartisanship for that. That was Joe Manchin. That was a Democratic senator. Joe Biden didn't even lobby him. He didn't even call him. Okay? And then they claim the Republicans stood in the way. So if you couldn't do that thing, how on earth are you going to get this passed? And again, another thing that I would say to you, if you're asking for 28% for the corporate tax rate, because look at it, I want to show you what it's been in the past. Okay, look at this. Okay, so you have both the statutory and the effective corporate tax rate. Look at how it used to be during, you know, just during World War II and right after. Okay, so now we're in 1943, 44, 45. So I mean, look where it is, man. We're talking around 50%. Okay, and you can see this dip over here when Donald Trump comes in. This clown, he just lowers it all the way to 21%, right? So, you know, you want to come here and tell me that, okay, well, because Joe Biden is saying this. If you go and read the remarks, he says this is the biggest investment since World War II, and it's the biggest mobilization, blah, 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 blah. So he's trying to sell this, right? Well, where is it? How if you recognize that this is something of the same magnitude, how are you going to pay for it with just 28%? And that's not the only problem here. It's that you go to the Republicans, right? You're asking for 20%. They know you're not serious. I mean, if you had asked for 60%, you're not even going to get 60%. They're going to knock it down to something else. What do you think they're going to knock it down from 28%? Where's it going to go? If they even contemplate arguing with you. And this is, of course, if you buy this idea that Democrats and Republicans are on, you know, different teams. They're not on different teams. Democrats and Republicans, they're two wings of the same party. This is a fucking game. This entire thing is a fiasco. I mean, this is really not rocket science. You can't come here and tell me that, you know, the so-called wealthiest country on earth, right, can't get this done and could not get this done decades ago. It's not a question of resources. It's not a question of what the fucking corporate tax rate is. All the money is there. All the money is there. They just don't want to spend it on you. They're spending it on wars. They're spending it on corporate giveaways. I mean, think about this. $2 trillion, right? That's not even enough for you know, what we're talking about here. You know, if you go to France, you take a TGV, which is their bullet train, the equivalent of the bullet train, right? You get from Paris to Marseille, which is on the coast in the south. You get there in 3 hours. It's 600 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. 300 miles. I don't know what it is. You get there in 3 hours, man, with a bullet train. Can you do that in the United States? I'm pretty sure you can. You can't even do that in the UK, which is, you know, you got the Eurostar going to London, and then that's it, right? Which it's also a bullet train. That's it, right? They have all this money, and they're spending it on wars. They're spending it on corporations, on their friends, on giving them, huge slush funds. Look at what happened with the CARES Act, the HEROES Act. How many trillions did they get? Did Boeing really need $60 billion? I mean, this is bullshit, honestly. And, you know, there are people going to come here and say like, oh, well, what? You're never satisfied? Does nothing satisfy you? No, man, that's not the point here. You know, the point is you can't trust anything this goddamn malarkey motherfucker says, right? Look at all the things he's already lied about, right? And I'm telling you, even when they can't get something done, they won't do it. So this idea that they're going to somehow sell this to Republicans, no, it's not going to work, man. The entire concept of American politics is that you have Democrats pretending they can't do anything, and they blame it on Republicans, right? And then they just sit there for 4 years and then wonder why they lose the midterms, which is, well, in 2 years. And then, you know, they sit there and wonder why they lose the presidency. And then as soon as the Republicans get back in, they start whining about, oh, man, if you wait and see what's going to happen. If you elect a Democrat, we're going to put them right back in line. We're going to do X, Y, Z. And then they never do X, Y, Z, right? That's it. It's just rinse and repeat. So I don't buy this diarrhea. I'm sorry. I just don't. I really don't buy this. The only thing that I did buy from Biden was when Secretary of State Blinken was saying months before Biden got elected that, you know, they're going to keep the sanctions. That I bought because I know that's true. I know there's no difference there, right? So this is just decorum, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, right? I think this is a scam. I think it's a racket, the entire political apparatus. They could have done this for you decades ago. They could do this tomorrow morning if they wanted to. They're never going to do it, right? Every time you see a slush fund for the corporations, every time you see huge, enormous giveaways, right? The CARES Act, I mean, this was the biggest giveaway in history, right? Highway robbery. Like that, it passes. Everyone votes for it. When it comes to infrastructure, oh my God, oh, you know, I don't know if we can sell this to Republicans. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. The same circus. Every single thing, right? So I'm tired of hearing this, and you know I have several issues with it also in the sense that, you know, okay, let's say you're going to create a massive jobs program with this. Wonderful, that's great, Now, what are you going to pay these people who are undertaking this work, right? Because the $15 minimum wage has gone out the window. So what are they going to be paid? What are they going to be paid? How much of this is going to end up in the pockets of corporations as subsidies? That's what I want to know, right? Because if you're going to come here and tell me that, you know, you're going to give, I don't know how many billions to, you know, your buddies in the automobile industry or in the oil industry in the name of you know, renewable energy, and that you're trying to promote clean energy or a transition to renewables. I don't buy it. I mean, you know, Biden, he rejoins the Paris Climate Accord on day one, and then it's a day that he calls it a day. That's it. And even this goal, you remember this task force, the Unity task force they had with AOC and John Kerry heading it? I mean, the word fracking, the thing is 100 pages long. The word fracking is not even in there, right? Like it's not even in there. It's not like, fuck you, I'm not banning fracking. It's not even in there. It's gone. It's like this concept does not exist. So I mean, this is, I don't know what to think of this. I really don't. Can you blame me, honestly, after everything we've seen? Can you blame me? I wouldn't blame you. I think it's a bunch of BS. I think this is just another part of the act. It's like, oh, look, we're doing something, and then when it doesn't work, even though it's our fault, you know, we're gonna pretend like this was inevitable. And this is what it is, right? It's always like this. They give you crumbs, And then they tell you, well, look, this is the best we did, the best we could do. And you should be happy we did it. Right. They gave you $1,400. Shut up and be quiet. Enjoy it. No $15 minimum wage, but here's this relief bill. Shut up and enjoy it. Be quiet. Affordable Care Act, which is a right-wing healthcare plan, which is, there's no cap on drug prices. You still have this revolving door between Big Pharma and the Obama administration, of course. They tripled, their stocks. I mean, this is, who's winning from that? Did you win? Pretty sure you didn't. It's crumbs. It's crumbs at the end of the day. So I'm sorry. I'm going off on a bit of an incoherent rant, but it's not really incoherent. It's just I'm angry on your behalf. I think this is disgusting, honestly. And it's all talk. It's all talk. Hold on. I actually don't know if we're still streaming because Streamlabs is telling me that I'm offline. So yeah, great. Give me a second over here. Okay, I have no clue what's going on. I hope we're not offline, but there you go. I'm just gonna keep on with the segment. So we have 596 people watching. That is great. Please make sure that you've hit the like button, drone strike it, throw a couple of shoes at it. We got a lot of things to cover. So I'm going to read all of your super chats at the end. I thank you for all your support. Okay, so let me get to Yes Queen. Let me get to Yes Queen. Oh God. So AOC, Congresswoman AOC, she went on Instagram. She does these Instagram lives very often, and she had a she had a meltdown. Right? I mean, hey, we all have meltdowns, right? It's some righteous indignation is good, but I want to show you hers, and you can tell me what you think of it. I know what I think of it, but just pay attention to what she says. Are you ready? Let's go, man. Okay, I'm pretty sure you cannot hear the audio, so that is a fail. Hold on a second. We're gonna fix this. Tout de suite. There we go. I think that should work. No.
It's a trade crisis. Because it's not a border crisis, it's an imperialism crisis, it's a climate crisis, it's a trade crisis. And also, it's a carceral crisis. Because as I have already said, even during this term and this president, our immigration system is based and designed on our carceral system.
Oh God, that was brilliant, man. As I've said during this presidency, motherfucker, I will cut you, bitch. And the last one, this is a carceral issue. Oh shit! Y'all better be afraid, man. She told us, huh? She did 2 strongly worded tweets. You remember? Now, to her credit, there's an update on that. There's an update on her criticism of the Biden administration, right? From a few hours ago. We'll get to that in a second. But this is from yesterday. Okay, so up until that point, as I've said, with the zoom ins, what the fuck was that? Oh, she's great, she's great. She went on full Karen mode. I love it. It's not her best act. You know, I feel like she's a better actress than this usually, but you can tell she's annoyed. She can hear it. I like. She knows that we know she knows, okay? She knows. And this is good, man, because, you know, I'm not the congresswoman who was elected to represent Queens and the Bronx. I mean, you were. So, you know, I know that no single congressperson or senator can fix the ills of DC. But nonetheless, I mean, you shouldn't be wagging your finger at your constituents or, people rightfully calling you out for carrying water for Biden. So, I mean, first of all, she says it's an imperialism problem. Oh, you have a problem with imperialism now, AOC? Really? Is that true? Is that why you haven't said anything about Biden bombing Syria? I think I have a right to ask as a Syrian. I think I have a right. No? That imperialism does not bother you. Or, Biden stealing the oil, right? $30 million a month worth of oil. That part of imperialism doesn't bother you. Do you remember when Max Blumenthal confronted her about Venezuela, about the coup? So this is from, hold on, let me pull this up for you. Okay. So here's that exchange with AOC, which was more or less consistent with the pathetic responses I received all day from members of Congress as the Trump admin launched a violent coup against Venezuela. Let me play this for you, okay?
Any comment on the situation in Venezuela?
Yeah, we're working on our
Which is what every anti-imperialist says, right? We're working on a response, but thank you. Yeah, right? That's how you impose imperialism. Okay. I think it's interesting that she calls it out as a carceral crisis as well, because once again, the first thing you do when you learn of the prison industrial complex and you learn of the corruption, the profiteering off of jailing, off of modern slavery, the first thing you go and do is you elect a jailer and the guy who wrote the crime bill, right? That makes total fucking sense. If she's so woke, okay, if AOC understands what's going on, and look, let's be clear, I'm not disagreeing with her. I agree with everything she's saying. The problem is I don't think that she agrees with it. I think she's just saying it. Do you understand? It's not consistent with her behavior regularly, right? She, when you stay silent about plundering oil, about sanctions, about bombings, you're one of the most popular politicians in the country. I'm going to take that as you being complicit, because that's what it is, right? And this kind of shit with Venezuela, I mean, what am I supposed to say here? And look, man, let's be clear about something else, because these images that have come out of the border, let me show you some of them, right? Because in case you've forgotten what's going on. Give me a second. Right. I mean, look at this. Look at that. That looks like a cage to me. It's a transparent cage. They took off the metal mesh. It's still a cage. That is a cage. Those are cages. Okay, this is in Donna, Texas. Those are cages. So when you called that kids in cages under Trump, and now you don't, something going on here, right? There's something going on here. And you look at her language. When Donald Trump was doing this, she called them concentration camps. That's what AOC said, okay? Look, she said this, when is this? July 2nd, 2019. Look, she says, these are concentration camps. And then again over here, she says it a month before in June 2019. Okay, she says this administration has established concentration camps. Again, she's justifying the terminology here. She's saying concentration camps are considered by experts as the, quote, mass detention of civilians without trial, unquote. So my question again is, why is she using such, clear language? She's unloading on Trump. She's not mincing her words. And yet now when it comes to Biden, she says, oh, look, it's our whole system. The whole system is like that, Like it's not Biden. No, it's the system. Our whole immigration system is based off of, the prison industrial complex. It's an imperialism issue. Like everyone is bad. It's not just Biden. You weren't saying that shit when Trump was doing it. What? I mean, look, again, I agree with her. The entire system is like that. But who helped build that system? Who wrote the fucking crime bill, right? Which was, I mean, I don't even want to know how much the prison industrial complex has made off of the suffering of throwing millions, into jail for misdemeanors, slapping them with extreme sentences for this 3 strikes bullshit. I mean, the war on drugs itself. Think of how much money the prisons made, the military industrial complex made. They made bank on that, right? And Biden was a huge proponent of the war on drugs. So it's not just any politician. It's not just the system. No, this motherfucker built the system and you're carrying water for him by deflecting. So, this fucking meltdown over here where she's like wagging her finger like, hey, I've been critical, you motherfuckers. No, you have not. You have not said shit. And, this doesn't even come close. This is... What is this? And again, people are going to say, like, oh, what, you're not happy no matter what she does. No, this is not enough. Do you not hear me? Like, what is she doing there? I want to know what she's doing in DC. I can also trash Republicans. I think anyone can do that. What made her special is that she unseated Crowley. Do you remember that number 3 in the Democratic Party? That's what made progressives special, is that they're not going to go in and do the regular act. No, they're going to go and they're going to oppose the system from within the Democratic Party. Good luck to you. That's a futile assignment. But that was at least the premise. They're not doing that. They fully assimilated with it. So this is very important to point out. Okay. And they co-opt this language. They co-opt this language about, look, I'm going to say the imperialism word while I don't call out any of the imperialist barbarism that we're doing overseas, or, the coup in Honduras, for example. A lot of people fleeing, all these coups in Latin America, the economic policy, the predatory loans, all of this has contributed to that, right? So if you want to focus on Central Latin America and the border crisis alone, never mind what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in Southeast Asia, all of that stuff, and Africa. So no, I don't believe you. One second. And let's give an update though. Let's give an update because I want to be fair, right? We have to be fair. So this is today, and God, I really hope the date is not a joke, because it is April 1st. But I'm just going to read you. You can find these headlines all over. This particular one's from Yahoo. It says, AOC says border conditions are barbaric and wrong, but a failure by both parties. Okay, so what's going on now? Now she's using more severe language. Okay, and she's saying they're owed reparations, right? She's saying they're owed reparations as well. I'm not going to disagree with her on that. I think that's correct, right? I think it's more than that. But the problem is, and again, this one is from the New York Post. This is also, so March 31st at 11:54 p.m. I mean, you take it as you will. That's April 1st. So, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not sure if this was during the exact same Instagram live that she did, right? But she's saying that they're owed reparations. Okay, fine. And she's saying that it's a failure of both political parties. Now, once again, I want to bring forward my point. Yes, but who is the chief architect of that? You can't come here and tell me like you don't know this stuff. If I know this, she knows this. Okay. And she wasn't saying that. Once again, you see how she's trying to insulate Biden and the Democratic leadership from criticism. Do you see this? Like, she's pretending to be on the people's side, but what she's actually doing is she's treating Biden differently. She's treating Democrats differently than she was treating Trump on the same issue, the very exact same issue. Two different, sets of discourse. Look, here she's saying concentration camps. These are concentration camps. Is she saying that now? No, she's not. Even though the conditions are quite frankly, very similar under Trump and under Biden. They're almost identical, right? So two sets of language here. It's not the same discourse. And I'm sorry, but I don't buy this shit, when she's talking about imperialism. She doesn't give a shit about that, man. You know what she's doing? You know what she's doing? I went on her Instagram and she's posting about Joe Biden's dog taking a shit in the White House. This motherfucker bombed my birthplace, my country. Again, Syria is one of the oldest places on earth. And she's talking about Joe Biden's fucking dog shitting on a carpet. I mean, the level of disrespect from these motherfuckers The level of disrespect. Fuck all of them, man. I don't owe these people shit. Okay? I don't owe these people shit, and I definitely don't owe them civility after what they're doing. You know, you want to carry water for this war criminal motherfucker. You know, it's not even a question of Syria. I mean, just for Iraq alone, and I'm not even Iraqi. I've never been to Iraq. Just for that alone, I despise this motherfucker. I don't know what the fuck you were even doing in the same room as him. So I've had it. I've had it with these charlatans. These people are charlatans. She's an actress, and that was really particularly bad. I want to play one more time, man. I want to play one more time.
Because it's not a border crisis, it's an imperialism crisis, it's a climate crisis, it's a trade crisis. And also, it's a carceral crisis. Because as I have already said, even during this term and this president, our immigration system is based and
she knows, man. She fucking knows that people are calling her out for being soft on Biden. She fucking knows it. She knows it. That's what the zoom ins were for, right? It's like, I see you. Don't yell at us. Go yell at Biden. What the fuck are you doing on Instagram? Go and say that shit to Biden's face. Maybe she has. Right? If she had actually done that, I'd believe it, right? I hope so, at least. But the problem is, I don't think he would actually meet with her. If you look at what happened last week, they sent Ron Klain, who's the White House chief of staff, to meet with her and other progressives, right? So now that he's already used the progressives, and especially her, because she's the most famous one of them, to get elected, he won't even meet with them directly. Right? It's like, I don't have time for you. Meet with my White House chief of staff. Now, look, you can argue that, okay, the White House chief of staff, that's still a strong position. You know, it's a strong role. It has leverage inside of the Oval Office. Sure. Okay. But still, I mean, it's just interesting. I don't, you know, just just as a hypothetical, do you think that Bernie Sanders would do that? No, I'm pretty sure he would sit down and he would meet with her. Even if he were elected president, he wouldn't be sending his White House chief of staff. Right? Right? So I just think that's interesting. But, anyway, she hasn't gone down to the border. You know that, right? And Ted Cruz. Now, look, again, let's not kid each other here. The only reason Ted Cruz is going down to the border and filming is because he wants to, you know, get one over Democrats. It's not because he actually gives a shit. Let's be very clear about that. Ted Cruz is a fucking. I mean, I don't even know how to describe this guy. Hold on, let me find the video for you. I put it over here. So, okay, I mean, this is messed up. Like this video, honestly, I'm grateful that he shot it, because if you recall, there's a media blackout. So I think now they've started letting in some media, but before it was just one facility. And the thing is that they were only letting certain people in, right? So this is another thing where AOC has said nothing. What about the media blackout? Like, how on earth is the media, you know, sidelined and barred from going in there? Can you fucking imagine the rage if Trump had done that? And he tried to at the beginning, if you remember, right? He ended up caving in. So why are they silent on that? Like, you know, they talked about restoring decency and the soul of the nation, and that Trump was a fascist. What the fuck do you call that when by her own terminology, this is AOC's words, the government is running concentration camps and they don't let the media go inside? If that was fascism under Trump, then surely it's fascism under Biden, according to them. And again, I hate this because, you know, it's you know, not to downplay the conditions here, but the thing with this whole narrative that, you know, Trump is at the same time a Russian agent and he's also a fascist. I mean, Americans, they're the nomenclature that they have in political discourse, it's very limited, right? So anyone who's a little left of the Republican Party is a socialist and a communist, and anyone who's a little bit to the right of the Democratic Party is a Nazi and a fascist. I mean, it's really insulting, honestly, to actual victims of fascism. But nonetheless, let me show you this video from Ted Cruz, and I mean, this is shocking, honestly. So he goes in there and listen to this.
Please give dignity to the people. Please give dignity to the people.
So you worked for the commissioner, your senior advisor. You were hired 2 weeks ago, and you're instructed to ask us to not have any pictures taken here.
Please respect the people,
because the political
rules.
Leadership at DHS does not want the American people to know it.
Please respect the
You
rules,
keep
sir.
standing in front of the pictures, so
Please
you don't want the
respect the
pictures
rules.
taken. The rules are arbitrary, and
Please
they're designed to
respect the
keep
rules
the
and
American
give the
people in the dark.
dignity and respect. That's all we ask.
Well, no,
Dignity
it's
and
not.
respect.
You're asking, is this
Please-
dignity and respect? Look at
Please
these people.
give
There's
dignity
a
and
pandemic.
respect to the people.
Let me ask
ask
you, there's a
I
pandemic.
respectfully ask you, sir.
There is a pandemic.
With
Is
full-hearted,
this respecting the rights of these
full-heartedly,
kids?
I ask you, please
Are you
respect
respecting the
people.
rights of these
This
kids?
is not a zoo, sir. Please don't treat the people.
You're right, and this is a
As such.
dangerous place.
Please don't treat the
And
people
your
like
policies,
this. That's all I ask for
unfortunately,
you,
are
sir.
trying to hide them. I understand
That's
you
all
were
I ask
instructed
you.
when 18
I
senators
ask you
came
to
down
please
here.
respect the people, give them dignity
I
and
respect
respect.
them, and I want to fix this situation.
We all want
and
to fix
the
it, sir. We
administration
don't
you're
want
working
this to
for is
happen anymore.
responsible for these conditions.
Please respect the people with dignity and respect.
And
sir.
I ask you to respect the people as well. This
I am
is
respecting
not
you.
respect.
I am respecting the
This
people.
is not respect.
Dude, I mean, you saw that video. What was that? Because this is the line that the Biden administration is towing, right? They're saying that we can't let the media in because we don't want to violate the privacy of the people in cages. What? No, I'm pretty sure that people who are locked up in those conditions, their last concern is privacy. Actually, what they would like is for people to know. They would like the media to come in and expose the horrible conditions that you're putting them in. For the most part, right? I think that's common sense. And you can see how she's telling him, like, no, I can't let you film. It's respect the people. Motherfucker, did you look behind you and what conditions you're putting them in? You call that respect? But look at this. Biden got me out here agreeing with Ted Cruz. I mean, this is just ew. I mean, what are these people doing? It's truly astounding. And there's another video of him that I put aside where he posted it, I think, a day before. Yeah, here we go. So this was on March 26th, right? Take a look.
So it's past midnight. I'm standing on the shore of the Rio Grande. The water is right behind me. I'm down the Texas border along with 18 senators. We made the trip to see the crisis that is playing out. We've already gone to detention facilities that are overrun, many of them with families, small children. We saw multiple mothers who were nursing infant babies who had just crossed over and were being housed in outdoor holding pens where they were sleeping on the floor and nursing their babies. We're at the edge of the river. On the other side of the river is Mexico. On the other side of the river, we have been listening to and seeing cartel members, human traffickers, right on the other side of the river, waving flashlights, yelling and taunting Americans, taunting the Border Patrol, because they know that under the current policy of the Biden administration, they can flood over here. They're getting paid $4,000 or $5,000 a person to smuggle them into this country. And our policies, when they smuggle them in, the Biden administration releases them, and more and more and more. Last month, 100,000 people came across the border illegally. We've got 15,000 kids in federal government custody. This is a humanitarian crisis. It's a public health crisis. The illegal immigrants who are being released, they're testing positive for COVID-19 at a 7 times higher rate than the American population. And it's a national security crisis. And it's time for the Biden administration to put an end to it and stop sanctioning lawless chaos on our southern border.
Yeah, that's great. I wonder where he was when Trump was doing this. Was he crouched down in the savannah when Trump was doing this? Was he so concerned when Trump was doing that? Of course not. He's a hypocrite just like the rest of them, man. I'm not, we're not going to entertain his nonsense. And once again, these people, they claim like, oh, it's an illegal trade that's causing all these problems. No, it's U.S. imperialism. It's your policies that drive these people to escape. And this is not just in Central and Latin America. This is also in, the Mediterranean, people fleeing from Syria, from Turkey, from Libya, traveling thousands of miles. Why do you think that they're traveling thousands of miles? You think they have nothing better to do? You fucking destroyed their homes. You stole all their shit for hundreds of years. They have no more resources. You put corrupt politicians in power who rob them and continue to give all the profits to your multinationals, neocolonialism, and then you lock them into predatory loans. There's no jobs. There's suffering. There's famine. Of course, they're going to fucking leave because you took all the wealth, and that's where they're going to go. They're going to go to the wealth, which was originally theirs. I mean, they just completely omit this, and they call them migrants. And they're refugees. People don't risk their lives crossing the Mediterranean, or in this case, walking in the desert, and then being locked up in a cage like that for fun. They do that because you've driven them to such just horrific conditions, right? There's no other option. They don't do that for fun. And I think the numbers themselves would kind of indicate that, but of course they're never going to explain it that way. So, I mean, this U.S. regime, and I mean all of them, Democrats, Republicans, all they're good at is accusing the other, right? They say, oh, look, it's Joe Biden is, being too lax. Look how many people have crossed over. And then at the same time, they say, oh, no, the conditions are bad, but it's not Biden's fault. It's just, it's the system is that way. They can't ever fucking do anything, right? It's just lobbing accusations back and forth. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they're serving the same masters, right? They're serving the same corporations. It doesn't matter whether Republicans are in power or Democrats are in power. Those camps, they're going to stay open. Why? Because you have corporations that are profiting off of this. Right now, you have Mobile View that is making these containers, right? They're not cages anymore. They're containers with bars on the window. Great. So they're mobile cages with air conditioners. What an improvement. I mean, wow. And you saw the other facilities, right? So that was in Carrizo, Texas. This one is the ones that I just showed you. That's in Donna. So, I mean, it depends. And, these corporations, they're making bank. The prison industrial complex is making bank. ICE, which was created under the Department of Homeland Security by Bush. Do you think any of them are going to shut it down? Again, to AOC's credit, she's actually called it out. She said that, DHS needs to be gotten rid of. ICE needs to be gotten rid of. Okay, well, are you lobbying Biden for that? Because again, it's great that you recognize the conditions are bad. Finally, like I don't understand how that took you a month. Are you actually going to get shit done? To get rid of ICE, the DHS. What's going on here, right? Are you going to hold Biden accountable like you said you would? You're going to push him left? Is that happening? Of course not. And the thing is that I'm astonished that Ted Cruz goes down to the border, and I know we know why he's doing it. He's still a hypocrite as well. But explain this to me. Last time, I mean, AOC went down to the border, right? And she did this photo shoot where I don't know what this is. Like, is that Terminator 2 when the nuke goes off in Sarah Connor's vision? Like, what the fuck is this? I mean, yeah, it's painful. I don't doubt it. But why hasn't she gone down with Ilhan Omar? Why hasn't she gone down with Joaquin Castro, right? Or Ted Cruz? Like, some of the only people that are actually being allowed in are senators, are Congress people. So you have an opportunity to actually go down there. The media don't. And they're not only letting Biden do this media blackout in the name of privacy, but she's also not going down there. Again, there's no consistency here in her language, in her actions. It's just bullshit. They're all party hacks, all of them. Does this surprise you? I mean, let's be honest here. We're talking about the same country that did Abu Ghraib. You saw those pictures. They still have Guantanamo Bay open. Guantanamo Bay. Obama promised to close that in 2007 during his campaign, among many other lies. That's still open. People being fed through a fucking tube because for the crime of being born Muslim. They haven't done a thing. They have no rights. That's still fucking open. Are we surprised? I swear these people are like fucking evil. I don't understand how you can work in a government like that. I mean, how can you not feel dirty every minute of every fucking day? How can you not feel dirty? I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I've seen people resign from their parties over far fucking less than this. I mean, we're talking the most trivial shit compared to this. So, you know, if AOC, if any of these people had any backbone, they would fucking resign and protest. You know, if you're going to come here and tell me that they can't do anything, you can do that one last thing. That's your one last card. You resign and protest. What, and you know, what is the point of that, by the way? Why do you resign and protest? Because you see that the actions of the government, of the party, are, you know, you can't reconcile them. They're incorrigible. And you have no other recourse. You have no other avenue. You have no other choice. And so you resign and protest. But another purpose of that is that you draw attention, right? She doesn't even need to do that. She has such a big platform. She's one of the most popular politicians. I think after Trump, she is one of the most popular. Well, when he used to have Twitter, and he was the president, right? When he was president, she was just after him in terms of reach on Twitter. I mean, what the fuck more do you want? You don't even need to be in. At that point, she could quit her job and still have that platform, right? And still use it. No. Apparently, you know, it's you can't do it. It's weird. Because I'm pretty sure she knows everything I'm saying. All of them do. And I don't know what compels them not to say it. I really don't understand that. I don't know. I would definitely not want to be a part of that. Because, I mean, you know, when you think back to... Because she wants to use the term concentration camps. Well, you know, she's not saying it now, which indicates hypocrisy. Whether you agree with her or not, that's it just shows hypocrisy on her part. And the other thing is that, you know, if tomorrow morning, by some miracle, you had a tribunal for crimes against humanity, and they conducted it the same way that, you know, they tried the Nazis, for example, right? Just as an example, because the Nuremberg ones were the most famous ones. Not that it's comparable to what's happening now, obviously not. What happened in World War II is a million times worse, but nonetheless, the point is that everyone would be tried, right? This idea that, oh, I'm just a congresswoman or I'm a congressperson, that's not, you're gonna get thrown in the can as well, because you're fucking complicit with that regime. So don't come here and tell me that you have nothing to do with this. Why the fuck do you have a pen on your a lapel that says you're a congressperson then if you have nothing to do with this? Can we all put one on then and claim we have nothing? You know, we're Congress people, and then when it doesn't suit us, we can't do anything. What is that? Is that just a costume then? What the fuck do you run for election then? All of these people would be tried. Okay, let's just make that clear. So don't come here and tell me they have nothing to do with that. That's fucking bullshit. So if you're appalled by that, you can't excuse this behavior. It's that simple, man. And another point, again, I raised this just earlier, but the money. Do you know how much money they're spending on this shit? When we looked at the first images that came out, so this is a few weeks ago, out of the Carrizo facility, right? They were saying that it's about $700 per holding for each child, right? So I mean, just think about what you can do with that. $700 a day. Again, please, if that figure is wrong, please correct me. But I think my point is well taken, and I think it still stands, because if you look at, for example, just the way that they would outsource things in the military, right? They would get someone from, they would get a contractor to do the exact same job that a private could do or a corporal could do, and pay it 10 times over, right? Because a corporation was getting the money. So I know for a fact that they could house these children, and not just children, everyone, in better conditions. They could put them in luxury hotels for the money that they're paying them. They don't actually need to do this. This is a racket. Do you understand that? It's not that they're just evil because they like putting brown people in jail, which they undoubtedly seem to have a habit of doing. It's also, it's a racket. I need you to understand that, right? It's not an accident that you have private corporations being contracted to do this shit, as usual, right? It's a carceral crisis, so I helped elect a jailer and a fucking crime bill author. Wow, that makes sense, right? Wow. That makes total sense. Anyway, so again, I'm very grateful for all your donations. I will read all of your super chats at the end. We have some more very, very, very important things to cover. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate it very, very much. If you want, you can donate on Venmo, CashApp, or PayPal, whatever is good for you. Again, no stress. if you can afford it, I'm very grateful. Thank you for not tuning into MSNBC. And I got you with that April Fool's at the beginning. I got you. So there you go, man. And other than that, you can also sign up on Patreon for as little or as much as you would like. Whatever is good for you is good for me. And I'm very grateful. So thank you for that very, very much. Patreon.com/Papi Chulaman. All of the links are in the chat. And again, I'm very glad that a lot of you tuned in tonight because as ever, I need to promote Rockfin. Now, it's not just for me, it's for everyone because I'm not the only one there. I mean, most of the people that you already watched, they're there. Jimmy Dore, Nico House, Convo Couch, Graham Elwood, Whitney Webb, Vanessa Bealey, Unauthorized Disclosure, you name it, Hardlens Media, everyone is there. So go and make a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. You just sign up and you can watch the videos for free. I'm streaming on there right now and there's no censorship bullshit and there's no ads. And the great thing is if you do subscribe, which costs $10 a month, you get everyone's premium. It's like an all-in-one thing, like Netflix for politics. Okay, that's I think the best way to summarize it. So yeah, there you go. But otherwise, you can watch the free stuff for free. Like I put almost every single thing for free. The only premium stuff is like if you want to replay the whole live stream. That's it. But my main point is there's no censorship and it's an alternative to YouTube. Right? YouTube have been banning tons of not banning, but demonetizing tons of channels lately. Some of them I just mentioned to you. So, we need to have an alternative. So definitely go check it out. Go sign up. I think it's worth it. Let's get to the next segment. Oh man, this guy pissed me off. Okay. So I'm just pulling this up for you. Excuse me. Right. So Secretary of State Blinken, he was talking to the United Nations Security Council, and the topic that they were discussing was humanitarian aid to Syria. Okay. And I'll explain the details of this renewal that they're talking about. But I want to show you just a short excerpt, a short clip of what he said. Okay, and I mean, just watch this. Just look at this ghoul, honestly.
Look, we all sit in these chairs. We speak these words. We represent our countries. But how is it possible that we can't find in our hearts the common humanity to actually take meaningful action to do something? How is that possible? I have 2 young children of my own. I suspect many members of this council have young children or grandchildren. I think of my kids when I think of the Syrian children we've heard talked about today. I ask you to do the same thing. Think of yours, look into your hearts, and then talk to your colleagues. And despite our differences, we have to find a way to do something, to take action, to help people. That is our responsibility. And shame on us if we don't meet it.
Yeah, shame on you, all right. I mean, if he treats his children the way he treats Syrian children, wow. I mean, he's even a bigger piece of shit than I thought. And the bar was already pretty low. Does he put sanctions on his children? He makes sure that his children starve? Does he make sure that his children can't even open Duolingo? Like you have all these learning apps that were banned for a long time. I think Duolingo is like one of the only ones that recently got unbanned. But tons of Syrian kids could not take English certification exams anymore. They can't even have access to education, no access to food. That's how you treat your kids, really. And now you want to come here and pretend like you actually care about Syrian children when you are putting sanctions on them and you are complicit with this fucking nut job regime that you think is better than Trump, and you're just continuing Trump's policies, Caesar Act sanctions. And before Biden got elected, Blinken, he was his foreign policy advisor. He was telling, it was in the Washington Post. He's telling that Biden believes the Caesar Act sanctions are a good tool. They're a useful tool. So they agree with this Trump policy. They agree with the maximum pressure campaign. 60% of the population that is left in Syria right now, they're under 24, man. They're under 24. 30% are under 14. And 60% now of the Syrian population are food insecure. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the exact same 60%, right? It doesn't mean that every single person under 24 is food insecure, but the vast majority of them are. 90% of Syrians are living in poverty, right? How the fuck do you inflict that on people and then you pretend to care about them? You motherfucker, you piece of shit. You fucking ghoul. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe this fucking shit? And then he's posting also this crap on Twitter like, oh, the needs of the Syrian people are profound. We are providing $596 million in additional life-saving aid to those in need in Syria and across the region while we support UN efforts to end the crisis. What are those crumbs? $600 million? Those are fucking crumbs. No one wants your crumbs. Okay? I mean, just look at this. This is from the Syrian oil minister. Okay? He's given an interview last week to Al-Akhbariyeh. Look what he says, man. He says that the damages, the estimated direct and indirect damages to Syria's oil sector are over $92 billion. $92 billion, okay? So, I mean, Syria is producing around 30 million barrels of oil per month. $30 million worth of barrels per month, okay? So every month, this is before the war, every month, Syria is bringing in about $30 million from oil exports, okay? But that's not the only thing. He's talking about direct and indirect. So this is, damage to infrastructure, right? Environmental pollution, diseases caused by all these makeshift refineries that these terrorists have built when they were stealing the oil. Because again, the oil fields have gone through several hands. They've gone through ISIS hands. They've gone through Al-Qaeda. They've gone through the Kurds. They have these makeshift refineries and they pollute the environment, and the people who live nearby, they get diseases. So, this has been happening for 10 fucking years now, right? I mean, I don't think you could ever know the true cost. So those crumbs, we're not interested in those crumbs. This is just the oil. This is just the oil, which is 25% of government revenue, which is used to fund social programs, which is used to fund infrastructure. Never mind the crops. The United States, man, you need to understand something of what's going on over here, okay? Let's look at the map, okay? This entire region. Again, I hate maps that don't have a map that does not have a legend or a key is de facto useless. So never ever in your life make a map without a key or a legend. Ignore that. Let's not have any colors here. I just want to show you the raw map. Okay, there we go. So this entire region, northeastern Syria. Okay, so you have the Hasakeh province over here. This entire governorate is called Hasakeh, and then you have the Deir ez-Zor province. All the oil, right? The majority of the oil fields are here. Okay. And also the crops. So, we're talking about, this is why it's called the breadbasket region, because you have wheat grown here, you have, lentils, cotton, you name it. So it's not just that they're stealing the oil and they've caused damage to the oil sector and they're sanctioning it on top of it, right? They're also occupying this region, the United States with their troops and the Kurdish-led SDF, which they're protecting, they're working together with, right? So they've taken the crops hostage, they've taken the oil hostage, so there's no food and there's no revenue. And on top of that, there's the Caesar Act sanctions, which makes sure that Syria can't have access to foreign currency. It can't trade on the international market. It can't buy anything. It's fucked. They're literally choking off Syrians, right? From everything. And this piece of shit, he comes here and he acts like he cares about Syrian children. You motherfucker, you are literally starving them. You are responsible for that. You're complicit in that. This is fucking unbelievable, honestly. It's so insulting. And there are morons who swallow this up and they have no clue what's going on. And so, just to go back to what they were talking about in this UN Security Council meeting, you have several border crossings. Let me show you again on the map between Turkey and Syria, right? And these are used to get aid across, okay? And the last one that's open now is called Bab al-Hawa, okay? And this is in Idlib, which is in northwestern Syria. And you had one that was closed last year. I think it was Bab al-Salam. And, every time what happened is that they failed to renew them. So if you recall the way the UN Security Council works, you have 15 members and 5 of them are permanent. The 5 permanent ones, the P5, that's the US, the UK, France, Russia, and China, right? So they were afraid that Russia would veto their plan to have several border crossings last year. So they ended up having one from Germany and Belgium with just one. So right now you only have one border crossing open, and that's, as I told you, it's the Bab al-Hawa border crossing. Let me show it to you on the map. Okay. And there we go. And it's important to understand this, okay? Why Blinken thinks that, he's some kind of crusader for Syrian children when he's actually lying to you, right? So again, this is Idlib province over here, okay? And Bab al-Hawa is right on the border. And so, the thing is that the Americans, what they want is they want all of these border crossings reopened so that all of the United Nations aid and all of their aid is going to the opposition, which is in Idlib. And again, I mean, to call it opposition is kind of, that's an understatement. You have a stronghold of jihadists, right? I mean, literally tens of thousands of jihadists. Most of Idlib is under the control of HTS. HTS is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is a rebranding of Al-Qaeda, right? I mean, you can't make this up, right? So the position of Russia, the position of Syria has been that, no, the aid should go through Damascus because the government is in Damascus, not in fucking Idlib. Right? And definitely not in the hands of jihadists and Al-Qaeda scum. But the Americans, they don't want that. They don't want Damascus having any control whatsoever, right? No food, no wheat, no crops, no oil, no access to foreign currency. You can't trade, you can't do anything. We're going to block you with sanctions and no aid. And so they come around, they say, "Oh, look, Russia's blocking the aid. Oh my God, look, you're starving Syrian children." Dude, your fucking crumbs are not going to feed Syria. If you leave the oil fields, if you get out of the breadbasket region, you get out of Deir ez-Zor and Hasakeh, and you leave the crops alone, that's going to fix the problem. You see, they're trying to perpetuate this colonial mindset. Like, we're going to take over your resources, and we'll give you some crumbs in exchange so that you can't really stand on your feet and you're always dependent on us. That's what they want, right? And you do what we say, you implement the political changes that we want, or we take away the crumbs. That's what it is. It's a fucking mafia. And another reason, of course, is they want to legitimize the opposition, right? They're trying to delegitimize the actual Syrian government in Damascus by making sure that the aid does not go through there. And, this border crossing in Bab al-Hawa, I think it's set to expire in June or July this year because it was extended for 12 months. And, it's just like they're so fucking dishonest how they try to portray it as like, oh, look how generous we are. We gave a few millions, which are like crumbs compared to the shit we're stealing. And, look, we care about Syrian children, which we are starving, but, it's all Russia's fault. You motherfuckers. They're incredible, man. They're incredible. They really are. And he goes and does this performance as well. I mean, so disgusting. Honestly, these people are disgusting, and it's so weird seeing them use their children for these deranged policies. Like, do you remember Joe Biden using his dead son as a reason that he does not want Medicare for all? Do you remember that? But what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I don't understand how soulless these people can be. I really don't. So I'm just really angry. And of course, are you going to hear anyone? Are you going to hear a single fucking person in the U.S. government tell you what I just told you? Of course not. Never, right? None of these progressives, they're not going to tell you anything. None of this. They are quiet. They have tucked their tails between their legs, and they just pretend to, oh, look, we're fighting imperialism, and they just shut the fuck up and let Joe Biden and Blinken continue the literal exact same fucking policies that Trump and Pompeo were doing, that they came up with, right? I mean, if we're being really honest here, they didn't do it by themselves, right? We can't give them all the credit. Israel, of course, has a huge role to play in this, of course, right? So it's not just them. Trump was his entire presidency, his entire tenure, he was just bending over backwards to do favors for Israel. And this is one of them, right? The Caesar Act sanctions, that's just one of them. But again, they are continuing literal, exact same policies as Trump, and then trying to portray themselves as better. It's just bullshit. It's just verbal diarrhea. I'm so disgusted and fucking angry. I really am. I mean, like, how dare you, honestly? How fucking dare you? And just to show you again how interesting, how interesting and yeah, I tried being diplomatic. I tried being diplomatic with Blinken when he first posted that thing about caring about Syrians. I couldn't. I just told him to eat shit, honestly. I mean, yeah, he might be the top diplomat for the United States, but there comes a point where, you have to realize that even though they won't take the mask off, they're gangsters. They're thugs. They're criminals. They're murderers. They're literal murderers. They fucking put sanctions that starve and kill people. I mean, make no mistake, right? Because again, there might be some of you thinking like, what is it with sanctions that are so bad? Like you might not understand that this is just as bad as war. It kills people. It starves them. It's siege warfare, right? It can be even worse. And just to give you another example of how depraved Mr. Blinken is, the other day on Twitter, he was praising one of his predecessors. Right? So let me pull this up for you. I'm talking, of course, about Madeleine Albright. So here's what he posted on Twitter. This is March 27th. Blinken says, one of my hashtag women of courage is Madeleine Albright. During her diplomatic career as United States ambassador to the United Nations and the first female Secretary of State, her tenacity and effectiveness left the United States stronger and more respected globally. She's a role model for me and so many of our diplomats. Wow. Okay. Yeah. You want me to show you what kind of a role model this woman is? So let's take a look. This is Madeleine Albright on 60 Minutes.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
So that's his role model. That's his hashtag woman of courage. Makes sense, right? Right? The guy who's now starving Syrians with sanctions, among others. Of course, he would look up to another mass murderer who pushed for the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children, because this is at the time, and these are UN sanctions, right? So people who think that, I don't criticize the UN, you are sorely mistaken, right? And I think, that's just akin to genocide, what they did. Truly, right? And so this woman, she sits here, Madeleine Albright, And she justifies it. She thinks that's worth it. Well, of course she would think that because she's not Iraqi. And, those were not her children who died, and she was not there, and she did not have to face those consequences. She wasn't on the receiving end of those sanctions, right? Definitely not worth it to Iraqis. It's definitely not worth it to anyone who has, a shred of fucking decency and a conscience. And by the way, again, here's Madeleine Albright in 2016 stumping for Hillary, right? And I love what she says here. Pay attention, right? It's really interesting.
We can tell our story about how we climbed the ladder, and a lot of you younger women don't think you have to, it's been done. It's not done, and you have to help. Hillary Clinton will always be there for you, and just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
Fucking hell. Did you see it?
Don't help each other.
Did you see Hillary's face, that psycho laugh that she does? Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a special place in hell for both of you, regardless, Yeah, there's definitely. What a remarkable character, right? So that's unsurprising that Mr. Blinken looks up to her. Christ. And by the way, this Women of Courage hashtag that he used, he's referring to, this is it's an award that the State Department gives out, right? So here, I pull up the page for you. And I don't think Madeleine Albright got one this year, unless I'm completely mistaken, but I did not see that. They give it basically to, they pick from a various list of countries, they pick one woman to give it to from each country. And so, it's... What does that mean? If Madeleine Albright is included in that hashtag and in that group, well, I don't even know what to say to that. Just these people are fucking deranged. Like they just murder people and then think they're doing humanitarian work. Wow. And again, using your own kids, like how fucking depraved are you? I'm really so I'm angry. This fucking cunt coming around here and claiming he cares about Syrian children. Really, you piece of shit. Like no shame. No shame. Not even Pompeo said that shit. Like, do you imagine how low Pompeo is? Like how dirty Mike Pompeo is, and this motherfucker still manages to like slither under that, right? At least Mike Pompeo, he just straight up tell you like, yeah, fuck you, we don't like you, here are sanctions. No, this asshole, he starts pretending to care about the children that he's starving in Syria and using his own kids to portray himself as some kind of compassionate, ambassador and humanitarian. It's just disgusting. I'm so angry. I really am. So, with that said, I'm gonna read all of your super chats. So let's get to it. You guys are awesome. So thank you for that. And just while I get this prepared, if you want to support the show, you can do so. There's a bunch of QR codes up on the screen: Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, whatever's good for you. And I really appreciate it very, very, very much. If you do send one on PayPal or whichever one of these, I do read them as well. So don't worry. I'll definitely read them. So let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. We got some on Rockfin. So Dallas Smith says, "Hi Richie, respect from the land down under." I'm not going to do an Aussie accent now, but I appreciate it. Sabi says, "I was a psych major. It's good that AOC has the best healthcare money can buy. She could use some help. Her behaviors seem more than just symptoms of, quote, stress. Well, look, I'm not going to make any diagnoses because I'm not qualified to do that. But I think, as far as the way she was talking, yeah, I think she's full of shit. I'll say that. I'll say that, man. Mandy, thank you for the tip. I appreciate it very much. We also got some from Brian and G Fort. Thank you very, very much. Climate Rebel for Life says, happy to see you value those gifts so that much. Of course, I really do. I genuinely do. So thank you for that. And you guys are very kind. So we got another one over here from Emblem Fate. Says, I disagree with the shirt a bit. Malcolm and Martin Luther King had different messages. That's true. That's true. Malcolm was a full-on Pan-Africanist. Martin Luther King talked about Pan-Africanism sometimes. I think a better one would be Gaddafi and Nasser, right? So for those of you who don't know, Nasser was the president of Egypt, and well, you know Gaddafi, right? President of Libya, and of course, they were both big They were really full on Pan-Arabism. Of course, Gaddafi kind of moved towards Pan-Africanism later on, if I recall well, and so. Yeah, I mean they're good, right? They're Nasser, he's a hero in the Arab world. I mean, like all over. And this is actually very interesting because at one point Syria and Egypt, they became one country, right? So there really was a project to go for Pan-Arabism, right? And of course, they made sure to destroy that, right? They made sure to destroy that. NATO, Israel, they did everything they could, unfortunately. They did everything they could. And yeah, I mean, definitely, yeah, it's true. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, not exactly the same, but I have huge admiration, nothing but love and respect for them. So each in their own right, of course, right? So we got another one over here from Javi. Says, cocaine and mania come to mind when watching that video. I hope she's okay, even though she's part of the problem. I don't know. I mean, I think again, I'm not qualified to diagnose or make any kind of judgment, but I think she's definitely pissed off. We can say that. Emblem Fate, again, thank you for the tip. Says, as a Pan-Africanist, one form of imperialism that really bothers me is the IMF. There you go. It helped bankrupt my homeland. Gaddafi planned for a strong economic free Africa. That's why they killed him. AOC supports the man who helped kill that dream, meaning Biden. The IMF continues to hurt my people. Absolutely, man. This is another imperialist institution. It's a neo-colonial institution, the World Bank, the IMF, right? And this is another issue with the UN. It's like they basically lock these countries into debt, and then they use that debt, they hold it over them to, meddle in their political affairs, to force them into, submission and implementing their political agenda instead of the political agenda of the people, right? And you see this also right now recently with Lebanon, right? They're saying you either do this or we're not giving you the IMF loan. I mean, Lebanon, of course, has its own issues with corruption. Every country is different, but the IMF as an institution, I mean, this is neo-colonialist shit. Yeah, we're definitely on the same page, man. Just a second, I'm still scrolling to make sure I got everything. Kathy, thank you for the tip. I appreciate that very, very much. You guys on YouTube, I can't see them again. You need to give me a second so I can kind of reload over here. Now I see them. I got them. Theory Neutral says, get a Monero wallet all ready for donations. Is that like a crypto thing or something? Because I have Bitcoin and I have Ethereum, which they're always in the description. So I'm going to paste them again now in the chat, but I need to look into that because I'm not sure what that is exactly. Again, I'm not very well versed with this, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Holly says, keep going. Fantastic work. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Don says, do you accept Bitcoin? Yes. As I just said, I do. I'm going to paste that in the chat right now. So 1 second. Give me a second there, boy. One moment. There we go. I've pasted it below. We got a super chat over here from Eric. Thank you very much. Baron Saturday says, don't stop. I will not. They're gonna have to ice me, man, to make me stop. Ramon says, keep up the good work. Thank you. And Knowledge Gizmo says, thanks for the weekly deprogramming. You're both very welcome. It is, right? It's a deprogramming. It's kind of like just, wading through the swamps of bullshit and I'm again astounded how anyone can be part of this regime. These progressives, like what are they doing? What are they doing there? Anyway, G Hart says, Richard, what's the best way to wake up my leftist friends and family on Syria? They mostly believe in the propaganda and won't listen to me. Thank you. Well, I mean, yeah, it's been quite effective. That's the whole point. In what regard? I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about generally, which is the fact that, people think it's a civil war. It's. I mean, even if you want to play devil's advocate, let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Even if it did start out as a genuine uprising, it certainly is not at this point. I mean, and not just this point. It has not been an uprising for years. For the vast majority of the last decade, it's been ISIS, it's been Al Qaeda and their offshoots. It's been the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and Qatar, Turkey, Israel, financing various armed groups or just coming in and bombing themselves, inside Syria. So I mean, that's not a civil war, when you have 12 countries that are involved. And yeah, of course, in history, you have had civil wars or revolutions where other countries were involved, right? Of course, yeah, that's not the Spanish Civil War is an example, or for example, the American Civil War, or American Revolution. So, I mean, yeah, of course, you have other countries that intervene, but this is something completely different. I mean, this is, we have documents, we have the fucking receipts from WikiLeaks, from the U.S. Embassy in Damascus, how they were already planning this in 2006. We have the receipts from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, the British State Department, how, they were creating this whole propaganda network to rebrand, these terrorists as moderate rebels. So we have receipts. It's not like conjecture. We have fucking proof and evidence of it. It's not something came out of people's asses. And the chemical weapons attacks, they tried to do a false flag attack and then cover it up when the scientists were sounding the alarm that, hey, you're doctoring our reports. I mean, only a lunatic could deny that this is a regime change war at this point. It's no surprise, man. And, I think to answer your question, well, you need a very strict regime of, no pun intended, right? They love using that word. You need a strict regimen of deprogramming, right? I mean, I could literally talk here for hours as I do. I'm just gonna say first thing. Go read, for example, or recommend, the dirty war on Syria, right? From Tim Anderson, I believe. So that's a good place to start, right? Go read or recommend the WikiLeaks documents that show how the OPCW, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the team that was sent to investigate the site in Duma, they had their reports censored. Their findings were removed. The entire fact-finding mission was replaced with people that were not there. I mean, that is just, it's right there on Google. It's these are official documents. You have a video of Ian Henderson. He's the team leader who went there. He's a chief scientist that was sent as part of the fact-finding mission. He's on fucking video. He's saying like, yeah, they doctored my report. There was no chemical gas attack. So, I mean, this is like, it's tough deprogramming people because they don't want to believe it. They think like, oh, this is some conspiracy crackpot bullshit. No, the fucking conspiracy is the war in Syria, man. Like, it's tough, but if I don't do this, how many people are going to speak out against it, right? How many people are going to speak out against it? Very few. Very few, and that's why they have a whole, they target people, they smear them when they talk about Israel, they target them, they smear them when they talk about Assange, they target them and smear them when they talk about the dirty wars, they talk about Syria, they talk about Venezuela. They character assassinate people for talking about this stuff, and that's why people they stay away from it, right? But you're abdicating your responsibilities to inform people if you do that. So I'm not going to ever stop talking about it. And I hope that maybe some of the videos, you can just share them with them and, that will open people's eyes. I hope so, at least. I really hope so. I think another very important point that I would raise is that, some people seem to think that any kind of action in Syria is justifiable because they just repeat the famous line in the media, oh, Assad is a brutal dictator. Okay, well, let Syrians deal with their own fucking shit. Like, no one asked Israel to come and help fucking Al-Qaeda, okay? No one asked Turkey to invade Idlib. No one asked the United States to take our fucking oil, right? Mind your fucking business, right? I think any person can understand that. So try, I really don't know how much more I can simplify it, but obviously, it takes time to make people understand things, and hopefully, we can open some eyes, right? So Shane says, don't forget Cruz's little Texas free scandal. He wants to make people forget about when he left on holiday, right? I remember that. Don't worry. Same with Cuomo. Of course, now he's embracing a popular policy to recover his image, or at least appease the masses. That is excellent. I mean, it's so obvious that the guy's a hack. I was just trying to summarize his entire career into one sentence. But yes, his latest act, where he went on vacation in Mexico. Do you remember that? You remember last month you had people, they had no more power in Texas, right? You had all these pipes that burst. And I mean, it's all because of corruption, right? These power companies, you have two companies in Texas that have a monopoly over the electric grid. And they've done it within state lines, so they're not subject to federal regulations. And, they've avoided upgrading, or rather, not even just upgrading, just simply weatherproofing their system. And this is what happens, right? It's all because of, let's save money. And people died because of that. And he went on holiday, went on vacation, as Americans say. And, again, as you say, he's just trying to cover his ass, right? Rebrand himself as usual. They're hacks. All of them are hacks. They're disgusting. So if you'll excuse me, we got some tips over here. Oh, this is great. This is great. We got... we got a payment on Venmo that is in review. Did you say Syria? Did you say the naughty word? That's probably what happened, right? Daniel, I told you about this. This is true. If you say the word Syria, they will send a message. Oh no, you said Iran and Venezuela. That's what it was. See? You can't have you doing that. So it says the payment is in review and they need 48 hours to look at it. So Aiden wrote, the infrastructure's plan is funding for a forever war with Iran and to coup Venezuela. Probably that's where the real money's going. Yes, I agree. The U.S., they have a troop buildup on Colombia's border with Venezuela. They also have a naval blockade that's been in effect. So Trump, he basically encircled them with, I don't know what the exact number of ships was, but on both sides, right? So in the Caribbean and then also in the Pacific. And yeah, that's where the real money's going. We know that. Aiden sent another one on Cash. Was this also on Venmo? Saying this is for the donation that got flagged on Venmo for the V word. Venezuela is now the V word, right? That's what it means. Andrea McGowan on this is on CashApp, says for true journalism. Thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate it. And Grady says for your consistency. Yes, we there are a lot of people lacking consistency, as we can see consistently. So I appreciate that, Grady. I think I'm very grateful for you. And by the way, Matthias just signed up to support the show on Patreon. So as per our tradition, I will play crab dance for you. Thank you so much for signing up to support the show. Put your hands together for Matthias. Everybody, let's go.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line. Claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Hey, why you texting? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Wasn't that beautiful? Thank you. Thank you so much for signing up to support the show. If you guys would like more, I play Crab Dance every time someone subscribes on Rockfin. And again, you're not just doing me a favor, you're doing all of Indie Media a favor because, we have a new platform on Rockfin. And also, there are no ads. So if you go and watch Jimmy Dore's channel or Hardlands Media, like they'll get paid from that $10, right? It's like distributed to whoever you watch. I think it's great. So we got a super chat on YouTube over here from Large Marge, says, love to Syria and Venezuela. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And we always got to have solidarity. And Emma says, you should have seen all the liberals saying people in Texas deserve to freeze because it's a red state. I did. We covered that, if you recall. And as I'm sure you were, it's pretty disgusting, right? Like, I mean, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? I don't know. I don't know what this cancerous team blue, team red mentality does to people, but it turns their brains to fucking mush. Did it ever occur to people that there are also Democrat voters in red states? It's true. Yes, they exist. So, do they also deserve to freeze by your logic? What is that? Like, what kind of fucking discourse are these people entertaining at this point? What is that? It was disgusting. It was really disgusting, honestly. You had people on Twitter going like, hands up if you live in a blue state and your power is still on. Wait, that's what Trump derangement syndrome did to people. And you know what's fucking nuts is that they want you to believe that Trump is worse than Bush. No. Anyone with half a brain cell knows that Bush was worse than, they're all a continuation of Bush, right? Every once in a while you have a president that comes along and just, makes everything even worse than it could possibly be. Bush was one of them, right? And then all the presidents that follow after him are a continuation of that. Literally. I mean, they kept Guantanamo Bay open. They've kept the war in Iraq and Afghanistan going. They've started more wars. The war on terror is still going on. The torture is still going on. The mass surveillance is still going on. The Department of Homeland Security, ICE, all these things still exist. The tax cuts are permanent. Like, there's nothing that they fucking stopped. They just took it and ran with it and made it worse. Every single one of them. Obama, Trump, Biden, Freudian slip. Yes, they're all Bush. It's fucking unreal, right? God, I cannot stand these ghouls. They really are ghouls. We got another tip over here on Rockfin. And again, if you guys have questions, go ahead and shoot. Gregory says, if you want to discover what happened in Syria, I suggest you begin with the Grayzone and go from there to the numerous other writers on Syria mentioned in the Grayzone and that Richard has spoken about. Yeah, absolutely. I had, speaking of the Grayzone, I had Aaron Matei on last year to talk about the OPCW leaks, right? And they've been covering this for longer than I have, right? And I mean, they've done great work. And Vanessa Beeley, Eva Bartlett, right? They have actually gone and lived in Syria. They know Syria, and they have more experience with Syria than 99.999% of all of these fucking hacks in mainstream media who have never even been to Syria, who don't even fucking speak Arabic, who have no clue what is happening in Syria or what the Syrian society is like or Syrian political system. And then they smear Vanessa, they smear Ava, and they try to take down their YouTube and their Patreon. And I mean, it's fucking unbelievable, right? Like this is what they do to people who do real journalism, right? Who say shit that they don't want you to know. That's what happens, right? So they've done great work, and Grayzone done great work, and dude, as long as they keep smearing us, that means we're doing something right. That's how I'm gonna take it. So there you go. And Keep It Real sent a tip. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Merci beaucoup. So yeah, guys, with that said, I'm just making sure I didn't miss nobody. Oh, we got a couple of them on PayPal. They just came through, so this is great. Let me read them to you. Thank you so much for that. This is from Douglas. I don't think there's a note attached, but thank you so much. Thank you regardless. You'll allow me 1 second to load. All right. So there we go. This one over here is from Shane. Shane, thank you. It says, Shane says, thank you for providing all the valuable information on current events. Stay safe. I'll try my best, but it's my pleasure, and I'm glad that people are finding it informative and useful, and I'm very, very grateful for your support. We got one also here from Catherine. There's no note attached, but thank you, Catherine. You're very generous. And we also got one from Catrell. Says, keep talking. You're awesome. I know. Don't worry about mentioning my name. Of course, I want to shout you guys out, so I always will. I know you're being modest, but still, I want to shout you guys out, and I want to thank you for your support. Always. I'm very grateful. So, it's really a privilege to have this platform. But again, most of the time, the stuff we're discussing is not really nice. So, it's tough because YouTube censors, and it's like not just foreign policy. Even if you cover police shootings and stuff, they censor it. They're cracking down is probably more suitable on independent media lately. You guys saw they banned Press TV, right? They banned their Facebook page. They reinstated it again, like 3 days afterwards, and now Google has banned Press TV again for a 7th time. Like they just on like almost the same exact day. It's just never ending. They do this on purpose. They just continuously harass and set back foreign outlets, and independent media. It's all of it, right? So yeah, again, that's why I really recommend you go on Rockfin. It don't cost you nothing, and you're gonna find not just me, but all your other favorite lefty channels on there. Like, there's a reason we were all fucking moving there, because we need an alternative to YouTube. So there you go. We're almost to 5,000 members, huh? Like last time I checked, I'm almost to 5,000 subscribers on Rockfin. So let's hit that 5,000, man. Come on. I believe in you. How many people got watching? 500 people? Let's do it, man. We can definitely hit it. Rockfin.com/RichardMedhurst. All right. I know you guys can do this. I'm counting on you. I believe in you. So there you go. Rockfin.com/RichardMedhurst. And again, if you do decide to sign up for $10 a month, you get everyone's premium, not just mine. Everyone. I think it's a good deal. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for all your donations. Thank you so much for all your support. And we also got another tip over here. This one is, hold on, I'm trying to scroll down so I can see it. There we go. This is from Dan. There's no notes, but thank you, Dan. I appreciate it very, very much. Very generous. Thank you. And I forgot to plug the War Criminal merch. Okay, so I forgot to plug the War Criminal merch. If you want to get those Rainbow Coalition Death Cult t-shirts, right? Uncle Joe's Rainbow Coalition. Here's the address, right? So I'm just plugging the show for the last time. There we go. Now you can see that, I think. Wonderful ad boy. Splendid. There we go. I got it. I figured it out. So yeah, we're going to be updating these. All right, we got more stuff coming, and these are real. This is not an April Fool's thing. Mona helped me make these, and they're great. I'm not wearing mine today because I wanted to wear the one that Colin sent to me. This great T-shirt. But if you want the Rainbow Coalition Death Cult, this is the one. I have the T-shirt, right? I got this long sleeve thing over here. That's mine. So yeah. And one of you actually several of you have gotten them on mugs now. So shout out to you. Good on you. So anyway, that's store.richardmedhurst.com. That's all I'm going to say for now. And, again, I'm going to put all the links in the description. I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for supporting the show. And please definitely sign up on Rockfin. And there's also a newsletter. My point here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure we're not dependent on YouTube because, at any moment they could, just at the push of a button, they start demonetizing people like Graham Elwood. They did this to me once as well, right? And it's not a good idea to be fully, have all our eggs in one basket. So there you go. So thank you for tuning in. Much love, much respect, and I'm very grateful for all your support. Thank you for liking and sharing and everything. So there we go. I'm gonna go get some rest now, and all the segments will be up shortly. So thank you for that. Be good, be well, and I'll I'll see you guys next time. Okay, ma'as salame. Take care. Bye bye.